Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. Have you ever heard of the phrase, what consumes your mind is what controls your life? Sometimes life calls on us to be our own cheerleaders. Today in rSpace, we learned that the only way to move forward is to choose to put yourself first. Live a life that you love and let go of the things that don't bring you joy. Up first, this OP shouldn't have to change for anyone. My 33 female cheated on me, male 29, for several months gaslighting me, but threw it in my face that she had cheated, accused me days before I found out, and had the guy threaten me using her phone. Then proceeds to tell me we have a chance together if I change my behavior? What the F? I had been with my girlfriend for 4 years when I moved to Germany. The relationship definitely, for sure, had its issues, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that if she wanted to break up, she wouldn't be justified. As I on the other end. I went to Amsterdam a few weeks ago and noticed that when I came back that same day, she said she wanted to go out and drink, which wasn't an issue with me. The problem started is when she never came home and didn't give me any update as to where she is. I called her and she got irritated and said she was with a friend and she is allowed to, and she's just hanging out. I was just simply asking to see if my girlfriend, whom I live with, was okay. She proceeds to be gone for a few days, comes back 2 days later, and tells me she is going to go hang out with her son, whom her mom has custody of. I think nothing of it, but I noticed she seems eager to be gone fairly quickly after just being gone for a few days. Her attitude is weird, and I know something isn't right when I text and call. She begins to say that I'm controlling, and I'm making accusations that she is up to something when she isn't. Stupidly of her, one morning I get a phone call from her, from a guy who proceeds to threaten me and say he will kick my butt. I hang up, and later on that day, she tells me that was one of her girl's boyfriends who she told crap about me and he felt sorry and wanted to get revenge, when she was supposedly with her son to begin with. I'm starting to see the BS, so I call the friend, and her story completely falls apart, as the friend has not seen my ex in months, nor does she have a boyfriend. I call my ex and she completely throws it in my face. She's been with another dude for several months, and I should have known that things weren't good. The day before this, she had been blocking and unblocking me, accusing me of talking to other women. How insulting. Yesterday, I see her as she stops by to pick up clothes before she goes to screw this guy, I assume. And she tells me he's leaving Germany in 2 months, and since she's still on the lease, she would like to remain friends. Right. And rekindle a relationship. She told me she doesn't want to cut him off, and that breaks are normal. At this point, I realize that I have no idea who the F I've been in love with for 4 years, and don't understand what human being rationalizes such garbage with a straight face. Any normal person wouldn't have let such nonsense come out of their mouth. She leaves and texts me hours later, and again in the mornings about how she wants to cut him off and give me a second chance, if I change my behavior. Someone tell me that I'm not effing crazy. Our first reaction from the community comes from D-Save. Wow. I'm hoping you realize you must cut contact and move on. The OP replies, shit is mad hard, but I have 4 years of insane stories to confirm I am indeed not crazy. Stuff no one would believe. Belf17 chimes in next. 4 years of insane stories and you're still with her? Mate, I don't know what to say. You seem more crazy for staying with someone like that for this long. Kindly Clothes 9414 wanted to add, spill the beans. The OP replies, I walked in from work and there was a guy hidden in my bathroom that she claimed was never there. Effing madness. Tertier78 thinks, man, could she have done anything to make you leave? Seems like you were pretty addicted to the toxicity too. You've got serious codependency issues to work through. The OP fires back. Didn't realize how spineless I was. That wasn't love. I just needed someone, so I was willing to be a punching bag. Yikes, OP. This sounds messy. It sounds like she has no idea what she wants, and you're, frankly, stuck in the middle of a yo-yo game. I think if you take her back, it's only going to get more confusing. You don't deserve to be someone's second choice. It didn't work out with whomever she was messing around on you with, and suddenly she wants to come back? It sounds like she is too afraid to be alone and doesn't want to be by herself. Very selfish if you ask me. I'm not sure she would be coming back for the right reasons. That being fixing things and truly experiencing guilt for what she's done and how she treated you. This is quite a toxic scenario, and you need to choose what's best for you and your mental health and well-being. You deserve someone who wants to stick around, someone who would rather die than treat you with disrespect. What are your thoughts on second chances? Moving on, our OP got to keep the dog in his next story, but lost his marbles. So I wasn't exactly cheated on, but I was in a 9-year relationship, and for the most part, it was the best time of my life. Around a year ago, I fell ill during lockdown with a collarbone break and depression, and the only time I've ever asked for support, she was being super cold with me. I was becoming a nervous wreck because I didn't know how she was going to be with me on the day. She was pissed at me for not being able to earn money, and we were buying a house together shortly with a mortgage in principle. During this time, I couldn't go out much, and she started hanging around with my guitar teacher quite a lot to go to gigs with him. Once I was fully healed, she was starting to distance herself and took me off the mortgage and put her dad on. Then a month later, she broke up with me, giving me wild reasons on why she had to leave. I spent months questioning everything, trying to make sense of it all, and the only time in 9 years I've begged for help, she was done with me. Anyways, 3 months later, she sends me a message confirming I was right and she had moved on with him, but nothing was happening prior until she broke up, which I'd been claiming since day one. It's nice to know I'm not crazy, but I'm suddenly dealing with anger, and I've never been an angry person whatsoever. I got to keep our dog, and knowing I was right is the only victory I wanted from this. But I also feel quite traumatized from the betrayal, and even though she never cheated on me, the fact she was setting it up, ready for when she broke up with me, still makes me feel some infidelity has been done after the years we spent together. Currently, having CBT therapy to deal with this, but it's a struggle. Our first reaction comes from Blade 982. But she did cheat. At the very least emotionally, but probably physically too. Of course, she won't admit to it. It would harm how others see her, and cheaters are determined to manage their image. Next thought from Great Gar. Dude thinks her word is some kind of gospel. But I'm surprised he doesn't wonder what's the purpose of such a late explanation. Rubbing salt to wound or keeping the door open for the future? The OP replies, rub salt in the wound for sure. I sent her dad a message a month ago saying, hey man, can you have a word with your daughter for me? She's spreading rumors about me and I've got enough on as it is. I'm sure she's doing this because she's banging this guy and wants me to look bad. A month later I get a message saying, yes, it was all true and how dare you tell my dad? It was my place to tell him when I started a new relationship, not yours. The next comment from Throwaway Glade. Got discarded whilst I was in my lowest ebb during the pandemic also. Spent a decade looking after her needs, but the moment I was struggling, disposed of exactly the same as you. Name removed from emergency contact, etc., etc. With the same lies and treatment. Do not believe a word she says about anything because she will be lying. It is all about protecting their core being from their crappy behavior. Cut contact, look after yourself, grieve, and maybe look into quiet borderlines, NPD. She might not tick all the boxes, but I suspect you will see a lot of similarities there. You'll get through this. Breakups can be tough, OP. There's really no right or wrong way to feel. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. Lots of people do. Be kind to yourself. It can take time to heal after the loss of a relationship. Give yourself time and space to digest what happened and to mourn the death of the life you envisioned. Keep busy. You might find yourself with too much free time on your hands, especially on weekends. Plan ahead and do things that you usually enjoy. Take time out for you. Do things that you find relaxing, like watching a movie, listening to music, or playing sports. Talk to family, friends, elders, and others who can support you. It's okay to want some time to yourself, but hanging out with supportive people helps get your mind off things and can help you get a different perspective. Most importantly, give it time. Allow yourself time to cope with the change. I have faith in you. You can do this. Give this OP some of your best breakup advice. And while you do, we'll all go a little mad sometimes. Let's check in with our final OP. Someone help me. I'm losing my mind. Background. Me, 30 male. Her, 32 female. Met 5 years ago. Been together for the last 3 of those years. The first 2 were just spent casually dating. I love this girl. We do have arguments a little more frequently lately, but that's because my insecurity lately. See, about a year ago, I was going through a death in the family and I wasn't able to be there for her. We decided to take a break for a few weeks, mutual decision, and for me to get my head on straight. We talked often during those weeks. Nothing deep, as we wanted to give each other space. Weeks after we got back together, after I pressed, I found out she started flirting with a coworker. Went outside a couple of times, went down on him too. She showed me the texts. We worked through it, but I've always felt insecure as they see each other every day. Recently, a few days ago, we had a fight. We'd made plans and she canceled a day of. Cool, right? So I say, okay. She has a habit of doing so last minute, and it annoys me, but whatever. So later we talk. I ask her how her day was, etc. She sends me a few pictures, and I see a restaurant in the background. When we meet later, I ask her about who she was with, and she doesn't exactly answer. But after taking it upon myself to look through her texts, I see a conversation with the same coworker talking about having lunch together at a very unique type of restaurant, the same that was in the background. I was so mad. I asked if it was him and she repeatedly said no. I left and went home. I woke up and saw I was blocked everywhere. I decided not to bother her as we both needed time to calm down. Today, I decided to look at her Facebook through someone else's account. It says she's in a relationship. Coworker's account says the same. For context, when we were together, she never once put in a relationship, but I didn't care. It's only Facebook. Suddenly, her and coworker who showed up single are now both in relationships. I'm going crazy. I've messaged her friends and everyone she knows who I do, but no one is responding. What do I do? I can't work. I can't eat or sleep. If she broke up with me, I'd be okay. But she just chose to do it in such a way. I need answers. I need someone to tell me what's going on. I feel like I'm starting to come off as a crazy person, but what am I supposed to do? Edit. Her friend just responded. She's dating the other guy. So yeah, 5 years gone. I've just blocked everyone she knows. I don't think I want to see anymore. Thanks, everyone. Our first community thought comes from taking way too long. You say, if she broke up with me, I'd be okay. She did break up with you. She did it in a rude and hurtful way by ghosting you. Grieve the loss and move on. Once you are happily involved with another, she'll probably reappear to try and haunt your butt again. Don't let her back in, not even as a friend, because friends don't do that to each other. Our next comment comes from Jiu-Jitsu is life. This sounds like something a teenager girl would do. She is immature and childish. She might have helped you out by acting like this now. Leave her alone and her friends and family. If anyone decides to text back, tell them to F off. The desire to have closure or resolution in any given situation is human nature. We like to have things come full circle, and we want explanations for things that we don't understand. We can find it very difficult to move forward if we don't have the type of closure we want. We ask questions, we wonder, we ponder. We have thoughts that run through our brains about why we aren't getting the response we desire so much. We create stories about why people aren't responding the way we hoped. In doing these things, we can continue down a rabbit hole of unanswered questions and hurt feelings. Take your control back. In giving your power away to someone else, you are saying, I cannot move past this experience until you give me closure. What you actually want is an internal emotional shift. You want to feel better. We can't expect the outside world to take care of our feelings. We get to take ownership over them ourselves. This can include letting go of what people think of you, practicing self-validation, knowing that you are loved and worthy regardless of whether you have her in your life, and not letting someone else's feelings about you dictate how you feel about yourself. Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let us know what you thought of today's content in the comments below. Until next time.